So, Inside Out tied to mindfulness. What could those two themes possibly have to do with each other? Ever since I saw Inside Out, I can't constantly stop thinking about the central theme of that movie. Spoilers ahead, please don't watch it if you'd like to see it, even though I can probably say the lesson without ruining the movie. I was watching Elena Fender's video on mindfulness because she's actually wrote her thesis on the topic of mindfulness, and I've done a lot of reading on mindfulness myself if you've seen my previous videos on books or just my general thought rants. A lot of mindfulness is about the idea of learning to be at home with yourself and learning to be present and have this non-judgmental presence with how you're feeling, what you're feeling, and living life in a proactive way instead of reacting to everything that happens to you. And Inside Out, it was sort of an inner look at how that system worked. There is no villain in the movie, really. There's nothing you have to get rid of, and something has to go out of your head. All the elements working together, and the fact that they're not cooperating and that they're not handling things together well, that makes the central problem of the movie. And I went into it really identifying with Joy because I'm so optimistic and I'm so positive, and I make YouTube videos and I talk about these things enthusiastically and imagining people complexly. I went in being Joy and having a slight resistance towards sadness because sadness seems depressing, sadness seems to want to be excluded, and that's exactly not true. I've talked about Eckhart Tolle before on this channel, and he says that inner peace is a result of when the joy of being, the joy of infinite being, of your consciousness, of your who you are, merges with the sadness of impermanence, the sadness of loss, the dark side of things, how things disappear, how things break down, how stardust turns back to stardust, really the ever-changing impermanence that you have no control over. If you really pay attention in the movie, you'll see that sadness is able to be happy slightly more than joy is able to be sad. Sadness can make people remember things and the value of things, and joy doesn't quite have that ability until she understands what sadness feels like. To tie that back to mindfulness, mindfulness is learning to sit on your feelings. Not like react your way into the feeling, but to just sit on it with this non-judgmental awareness, not being hard on yourself, and just feeling the feeling. Go to the depth of the feeling, but don't resist it, and don't react to it. Feel it. I think that's what it enables us to feel at peace, even though we can understand that we have fear and disgust and anger and sadness and joy. We can allow them to work together, just as those core memory orbs form from two different emotions in the movie. Sadness is taking over the situation and saving it, and then invites joy back. That little moment when Riley smiles, right when she's with her mom and dad, right when she smiles, is that common center between joy and sadness, which is itself inner peace. Not to say that any of this stuff is easy to think about or easy to understand, but it would be worth it, which is why I think Disney went so far to create that analogy of emotions being the controllers in your brain. It's difficult because in the movie, Riley doesn't really have awareness of her emotions. She's sort of made up of the combination of her emotions. Her personality can't sit there and go, oh look, there are 5 people inside my head, and now I'm gonna let Joy take control of all the system, and she can take, okay, it's Sadness's turn. I think the idea implied behind that is more of just an awareness of what emotions are in control. We can create feedback patterns in our head with certain emotions. If we give those emotions control, give them the power to use that control system, we continuously act into those emotions. We continuously think about the future, and we get more anxious and more anxious and more anxious. We're never living in the present moment, which is really where all the magic of living happens and being. There is no moment that's not now. Now, you're watching a former present moment, but you're watching the former present moment right now. Another very fun saying when it comes to mindfulness and emotion is, as within, so without. If you're calm on the inside, your demeanor is calm on the outside. As within, so without. That was really cool because the title of the movie is Inside Out. Inside Out. The ability to author our own lives and to set our own state. We can't always control our mood, but we can always control our response to what happens to us. So Inside Out is the response and expression. So what'd you think of Inside Out? Let me know down in my diaphragm. I'm curious to hear your reflections on the movie and what you learned from it. That lesson about joy and sadness having a common center and both merging into inner peace is something I've read about already in mindfulness, and it just clicked immediately in Inside Out, where sadness says that she read all of the manual and then joy can use sadness to get back, and she just goes, ooh. This is hilarious. What emotion is your center? Mine's definitely joy. I may try to get some meteor shower footage tonight, or some long exposure pictures to see if that would work. I also made a video about weird stories over on Nerd Fighters info. I will link that down in my diaphragm if you would like to see that as well. Collaborating, as always. Keep being you. Don't forget to be awesome. Don't forget to merge joy with sadness to form that inner pocket of calm water, that peace you can always access in the now. Embrace mindfulness and embrace your weird. Everybody, Palka.